it's that time of the day, that time of the week when we talk about stress. We know that stress is a part of this journey that is inescapable. And I don't know about you, but it took me a little time to accept that. There was a period of time in which I thought, oh, I'm going to be able to do this and manage this stress, and I'm going to figure the whole thing out. It didn't really go that way. And I found, and I still find, although I keep forgetting it, I still find that if I don't make it a part of my everyday to manage the stress, what will happen is that I get overwhelmed. I know I've shared before on the show that there was a day in which I had said overwhelmed so many times to everybody that I'd talked to. People were like, how are you? I'd say overwhelmed. How are things going? I'm overwhelmed. What's happening? I'm overwhelmed. And I just kept saying it because I don't know. I think I expected that somebody was going to say something that was magically going to make the overwhelmed go away. But I'd said it so many times that I went and looked it up in the dictionary to see what it actually meant. And because I said overwhelmed, what's whelmed? That you're over. And what it actually means is being underwater. That you get to that point where you're covered in water. And I thought, wow, that really addresses it, because that's what I felt like, that I was going down for the last time. And we can't let things get that bad on a daily basis. It's going to happen sometimes, right? But it's sort of like buying insurance. If we kind of take care of it a little bit at a time and do a daily something or other to help us to manage the stress, when the big stresses come, we don't get as far down under. We are going to get overwhelmed, but maybe it's not going to be as bad. So I'm a big one for talking about, and I'm saying this to myself as much as I'm saying it to you, meditating. And so I want to take a second today to talk about meditation in its many forms, because some of you guys have written in and said, yeah, but I don't know how to meditate, or I try to meditate and I can't. And until you can get to true meditation, what do you do? And I think, although not an expert on meditation, but I think from my experience that it's like any other muscle. You have to kind of go slow and take it a little bit at a time. So I've made a list of things here to think about doing for yourself. The first one being to download free meditations, because when we're trying to reduce stress, we don't want to do anything that's going to incur more stress, and spending money has the potential, if we've got a child on the spectrum, to incur more stress. So everything that I put here, totally free. If you go onto iTunes and put in meditations or free meditations, you will find that there are many places that will download 1 or 2 free meditations for you that are sometimes 20 minutes to an hour long. And I would encourage you to try them. Try more than one, because it's different things for different people, right? You want to get one that actually helps you to relieve stress, to get you into a state where you're calm and centered. The level of how deep you can meditate is going to depend on how much experience you have meditating. But don't think to yourself, okay, because I couldn't get completely relaxed, it wasn't worthwhile. You gotta start somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So just like I'm not gonna go and run a marathon today, but walking around the block would be helpful. We need to do that with meditation. So if you only can listen to 10 minutes of the meditation, because that's all you had time for, and in that 10 minutes of the meditation, there were several times that you found yourself thinking about your upcoming IEP meeting or stressing about that bill that has to be paid, and twice you said to yourself, I'm letting go of that right now and coming back to a centered place, that's progress. So I want to encourage you to try that out. If you're not somebody who has access to something, a player that you can download music on, there are other meditations that you can do. And one that I particularly love, in this week off, I reunited with this meditation. It was very, very helpful. Simply sitting or lying someplace and having a moment to close your eyes, and you can do this in a minute, or you can take 20 minutes, or you can do it as you're going to sleep. It's really helpful to get you to go to sleep. But starting eyes closed, visualizing your entire body from your toes to the top of your head, and thinking of yourself as a series of sandbags. So you start with your toes and think of your toes as little itty bitty sandbags. sandbags, and somebody comes along and just pricks the sandbags with a fork or whatever, and you visualize sand spilling out of the sandbags and going onto a beach or something like that. And then picture your whole foot being a sandbag, and somebody pokes a hole in it and the sand spills out on the beach. And then you picture your ankles and the sand spills out, and then your calves and the sand spills out, and then your thighs and the sand spills, going through your whole body, starting with your feet and going up to your head. And if you're somebody who's good at visualization, it's something where you just let things slip away. It's a place for your brain to focus and let go. It really is very relaxing. If you have trouble getting to sleep because you got that monkey brain going on, that's what a friend of mine calls it, the monkey brain, which is constantly busy, focusing on letting go of sand, because we can't focus on letting go of the problems, right? Then we get into thinking about the problems, but letting go of sand. Really incredible, and it doesn't cost a penny. There are some people who, if you don't have time and the visualization thing isn't strong for you, doing just a one-time affirmation, or you can do it over and over again. One of the things I've recommended before on the show, take a minute when you get into the car with your child or your children before you drive away. Get them into their harness so they're still for a moment. They might be screaming, but they're hooked in. Take a moment to sit in your car, and if you can, if everybody's safe, close your eyes for a second and think some calming thought, like "this too shall pass," or I have infinite strength to get through things, or I will find time to relax later on. Whatever the affirmation is, I would sit and say to myself, I can do this. I used to be able to speak Spanish fluently, and not so much anymore. But I have friends who say, "Si se puede," we can do this. I can do this. And that would be a great mantra for me. I can do this. Because there were so many times that there was the voice in my head saying, "You're not going to be able to do this," right? I can do this. And have it be something small. Just drive to OT. I can do this. Can't do it all, but I can do this. Was a good one for me. But find the one that's right for you. And then taking mental vacations for just little moment here and there and wherever. If your child is going into OT and you're going to be in the room, but the OT person is working with them, you can sit there for a moment and close your eyes, and whatever environment works for you, picture Tahiti, or if that's what works for you, or picture sitting by a fire with the snow falling outside, if that's what works for you. 20 seconds of that is helpful to reduce the stress on your body. You know, my son the other day said to me, he said, "Mom, I can't sleep." And I said to him, okay, let's talk about that. You can't sleep. It's because your brain is busy. Let's give your brain something else to do. Eventually, I want to get him to the point where his brain can be still and he can be picturing snow and having total shutdown. But that's a lot to ask in the beginning, right? It's a lot to ask of us. So I said to him, you know, some people like to count sheep because it's repetitive and it's something to visualize. That's never worked for me. I'm somebody who likes stories. So if I can't go to sleep, I will lay in bed, and if I've done the sandbag thing and I still can't go to sleep, I will start to tell a story in my head, because for me that occupies my brain, gets rid of all of the other, stuff, right? And I focus on telling myself a story. For my son, who likes to build things, he's Mr. Lego, I said to him, I want you to picture building something piece by piece, and he was asleep within 30 seconds. We can do this for ourselves. What is it that occupies our brain and quiets everything else down? It's a great place to start on our way to pure meditation. Getting our brains occupied, busy with something. I know you've experienced that thing where you're driving in your car and you get there and you think, I don't know how I got here. I don't know where my head was. And a lot of times you can't remember exactly where it was, but your brain, your head was in a deeply creative place that was very relaxing. When we have stress, it interrupts that sometimes. So bring it back a little bit at a time until you can get yourself into a state where you can totally relax and let it be white noise. baby steps to get there. But it's important that we take whatever time, if it's 10 seconds, if it's 10 minutes, or if it's an hour a day, doing something to keep this muscle moving in the direction of getting to relaxation. Stress, it's a reality, right? We have to fight it, but I know that you can.